There we go. I'm unmuted. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up, folks. I'm testing some new software today because I thought what better opportunity to do that on our first live back in front of all of you. Great. Okay. Thumbs up. Yes. Super. Okay. Thank you, Clinton. Thank you, Todd. Hi, everyone. How are you guys? Hello, members and super savers. It's been a long time. Thanks for coming today on such short notice. You guys, I asked you whether you wanted a video on T-bills, IBONs, whatever it might be. Hey, Finnegan. And you guys voted T-bills. So here hey, Deborah. Hello, everyone. So we're going to start with T-bills. So some of you have seen the inflation report that was released a couple of weeks now. February inflation came in a bit higher than the market expected at 3.2%. Hello. Hey, everyone. Yeah, talk amongst yourselves and say hello. A lot of you haven't talked to one another in a while because we haven't been on YouTube in a while. At least not here. So in any case, so February inflation came in at 3.2%. It was more than the market had expected, just a bit. Hello, Swati. And then January's was 3.1%. Now, it was a bit more than expected, but generally speaking, in the first 3 months of the year, inflation tends to be on the higher side. There is a bit of seasonality. Whether that will continue remains to be seen. What has seemed to have happened is that the market has finally accepted that the Fed, do you guys like my glasses, by the way? This is my work look. And let me know, I'm going to do something new later. Those of you that have been on lives with me know that I've been struggling with the lives for a while with displaying stuff on it and everything. So I'm going to try something new today. And if it works, yeah, I'm going to keep using it. So, and I will go through the chat to the extent that I can. I have about 20 minutes, 25 minutes today. And so anyway, going back to what I was saying. So the market seems to finally have accepted that the Fed is going to do what they say for now, which is lower rates 3 times. They had expected much more. It looks like those 3 times will come towards the end of the year. But as we've seen, a lot of what the Fed does is based on the numbers they get. So where they are at the moment, it seems that they're not comfortable with lowering rates yet. But what Powell seems to have said also is that they're going to wait and see what happens. He expects rate cuts to come. And so to reiterate, because we haven't been here for a while, even if the Fed does lower rates, we're now at 5.25 to 5.5. Say that they lower 25 basis points, that's going to be 5. That's going to be 4.75, right? Around 4.5 to 4.75. That is going to impact our T-bill yields. The short-term rates are going to go down because that is what the Fed can impact. On the longer end, I'm going to get fancy now. Wait a second. I'm going to show you something. I know that a lot of you are interested on the longer end, and we will get to that in a second. So essentially, at the moment, we haven't changed our perspective on T-bills. In fact, we keep buying more T-bills every time we have cash. I was saying to our members a little while ago, every time we have cash that comes in, we've run our emergency fund down pretty low to probably 1 month. We don't keep much in the bank. Most of it is in T-bills rolling over with Fidelity. What we've done is we've actually moved from the 13-week. We still have the 13-week, but what we do is we've been buying 4-week T-bills. And why we've done that is because it just gives us more flexibility. If the market changes, we can invest in other things. So that's what we've done. The other thing is, I don't know if that functionality has always been there. I don't think so. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But if you're buying T-bills at Fidelity, you actually have the option to literally go into your account right now. If you click on your account, go to portfolio, and you see all your portfolio holdings, there's an option within there underneath your T-bill that says cancel auto roll. So you can cancel that if you want to. Ours are still on auto roll. I have not tested the feature yet. I don't know if it works, but there's definitely a button. I didn't get around to testing it. So if anybody wants to check it out, that's great. Otherwise, we're going to check it out soon. And then for those of you that have asked about Schwab auto roll, I know there's been a lot of discussion within the community about whether Schwab auto roll still has that 1 week delay. And some folks have said that it has not. I actually have tested it again, and the 1 week delay is still there. So your money does sit in their low yielding bank sweep for a week, if that matters to you. If anybody has a different experience, please do pop it in. But we literally just tested this with 2 auto rolls in January and February, so there was that 1 week delay. So that's where we are with our T-bills. And I think here's the thing, Rick, like we've always said, these rates will come down at some point. I still strongly believe that it's going to be higher for longer. And that's what the message seems to be at the moment until the numbers indicate otherwise. I don't think nobody wants to kill the economy, especially in an election year. And there's no reason to right now. Things are going okay. The Fed has brought rates down. But at some point they will come down, which now shifts the discussion to this like fancy banner that I was just having fun creating for you guys. Give me a second. Let's see if I can do this. So what do you guys think of this? Let me know what you think of this. This is completely new. This is the software we discovered last night because now we have a little bit of time on our hands. So what you see scrolling underneath is actually the 2-year, 10-year notes and the 20 and 30-year bonds. And what it shows is where those rates were in January of 2022 versus where they are today at the close of market. And so I'm going to take this off at some point because it actually bothers me, but just so that you guys have a chance to see what it looks like, right? We've come a long way since the Fed started raising rates. And I've always said, so we're not going long, we're staying short because it fits our financial journey. We're in our 40s, 50s. We have quite a number of years to retirement. If T-bill rates go down, we're just going to go look for something else, and I'll let you know what we find. But I've said many, many times, and I've said it to you guys as well, if, for my parents, if you're in your 60s or in your 70s, look at what those rates on that little yellow ticker look like. They've more than doubled for the 20 and 30 year, and it's all been up, and it's been up since the beginning of the year. If you're at that point in your life where, you want to lock in some yields, I'm not going to say that it's not going to go higher, because I do think that it has room to go. But I also don't think that you can't really time the market. It's never a good strategy to try to time the market because nobody has a crystal ball. So I stick to the same thing that I said when we did our last live. I think that was, end of last year, which is continue to dollar cost average into each auction. You guys know how the process works now. And some auctions you may get a lower rate, some auctions you may get a higher rate, but on average, you're going to do okay with where the rates are right now. And so, look at what maturities you want and start dollar cost averaging into them, because I'm going to stop this ticker. This is driving me crazy. Sorry. I hope that was useful though, because then you guys saw what the numbers are and I don't have to flash a slide. So that's where my thinking is. Nothing has changed in terms of we're coming back. We've wrapped up our projects, which you'll hear more about later on, but we're back. We'll be doing proper videos with proper slides. Today's just a quick update because it's a short week and Easter's around the corner and I was not sure if we would be able to get anything out. But in terms of IBONs, a quick update, I will do an IBON video. We are going to redeem our IBONs, practically all of them, in April, on April 1st, April 2nd. We will buy more IBONs at the current fixed rate. And I haven't looked at all the numbers yet. I still need to do all the numbers and I will do them the first week of April. So I know that you guys haven't seen us in a while, but we've actually been very busy working around the clock, and we will get those numbers out and we will have something in April, first week of April, and then we'll have another update after the inflation report is released. I know a lot of you are curious about the fixed rate. So my thinking on the fixed rate is nobody knows. I don't know, but we've looked quickly at the real yields on tips and where they've been in the past 6 months. And our thinking is, listen, it's either it could stay, it's highly likely it'll stay roughly where it is. Could it go up? Yes. Could it go down? Also, yes. However, you know, 1.3% now is 1.3%. Then you have the 1.3%. So our thinking is we'll redeem everything. Then we haven't redeemed much yet, but we will redeem all of them because they're all at 0%. And what we will do is continue to buy more IBONs at the 1.3%. And listen, if it goes down to 1.2% in May, then we don't feel bad because we've already bought our 1.3%. And if it's really great in May, the fixed rate, then we just gift one another and use that strategy. So that's how we're thinking about it. And like I said, I will give a more formal update with slides, with numbers, with the inflation, where everything is going, and, you know, a more detailed analysis. But this is just something so that you guys can, you know, sit around and talk about it over Easter, because, or wherever, whatever you're doing this weekend, because, you know, that's what people do for fun on the weekend, at least in our house. So that's where we are. I'm going to try to go through, there's like, because you're still in comments. So let me go through some of this. Okay. Let's see. Making money. Donald is making money in stocks, so are we. Yeah, so that's good news. Hello from Texas. Hello, DD Lat. I'm glad you guys, you know what? You guys probably don't believe this, but I missed you more than you miss me. I actually do love doing this, and I was so happy to be doing this today. What do I think about treasury bonds? I think I answered that question. I think that they're pretty relative to where they were. They're pretty good. Is there, would I personally think that there's more to go? Yes. But I don't think anybody can time this. So if it's, you know, if it's good for you, if it works for you, I would start dollar cost averaging. I'm going to keep repeating that because, like I said, you really can't time this. If we see 5% rates, 6% rates again, that's great. I'll be on YouTube on a live again to let you guys know. But right now, the best thing you can do for yourself is to grab some of these rates in case they do go down, right? So, hi, Donna. Okay, thank you. Thanks for the, I'm glad you guys love the glasses. What do I think of the 2 to 7-ish year and longer treasury yields? Hold off for now or buy little. So Kaleidoscope, we've talked about this a lot. I personally, I don't know how old, I think you're a bit on the older side from what I remember. If I were 60 or 70, I would be buying little bits right now. I would be buying at auction. I would keep some dry powder, not knowing your situation, but that's what I would do for my parents because I do think these yields are pretty good, but I would still leave some dry powder around just in case. Oh, the question was so Kaleidoscope asks, let me repeat, what do I think of the 2 to 7-ish year longer treasury yield? So I just answered that. Hold off for now or buy little bits. I just answered that. Or would you favor the current tips yields instead, or a bit of both? So at 60, 70, I think you've heard me say, I believe that you need a certain degree of inflation protection. And, you know, you've heard me say as well, I think if you don't know where to start, 50-50 is a good place to start. You guys, I think a lot of you know, the one video we came back to do was to let you know about the tips auction. I think tips yields are in a good place right now. I do like them. So our strategy with the inflation protection is we buy IBONs and we wait for the 12-month holding period to be over. We use that as our emergency fund. We have T-bills that roll over that we use as an excess emergency fund. And the tips, you need to think about tips as buy and hold to maturity, assuming rates stay. Listen, if rates go down, you're going to make lots of money on the tips you're buying now, right? But just assume that they stay where they are. I do think that we're headed towards a period of higher interest rates than we have in the past 10 to 20 years, in the free money era. But I also think that rates in general will be higher than they have been. And I think tips yields really do look attractive. So I think if you have the mentality to hold to maturity, you can sleep well at night, even when you see your tips, you know, going down in value, because they are tradable. You know, when the market moves, they move. It's not like IBONs, where if you have to hand them back in after, I don't know, 12 months, 15 months, 24 months, you know that you get back your principal value with tips, there is a huge discount, generally speaking, because the market is illiquid. So I love tips, but I also know that, and you guys will see a lot more tips videos from us because I think they really are at a good place with the real yields right now, and they're higher than I bonds. But I think you need a certain mentality to be able to buy them. I think they are complex. So what we've been working on is this project is actually 2 courses. We did not think about putting anything about tips in there. But I do think they're so attractive. They're worth understanding and getting comfortable with. And we will try to do more videos over the next couple of weeks and months to try to help all of you understand them. I'm not a fan of buying anything you don't understand, because the last thing I want you to do is come onto one of our channels and go, or one of our videos and say, oh, Jen, well, you told me that I didn't tell you to buy tips. I said that I think it's attractive. I bought them. But I don't want you to say, I don't understand how they work. When you buy them, I want you to be able to understand how they work before you buy them. Okay. So that, I hope that covered it. So I would definitely, I personally, as a 60, if I were 60, 70, be buying some tips right now. And I bonds as well. The I bond rates are really good as well. If you don't like tips. The question about bond funds versus individual bonds. I've been using an aggregate bond. So I don't know any of these bonds, so I can't really comment on them. But we have a video on individual bonds versus bond funds. We can post it again in the community post. And you can check those out. Okay, Donna. Okay, turns off auto roll. Somebody, B. Stevenson confirmed that you can turn off auto roll with Fidelity. E-Trade does not have auto roll. Good time to buy an I bond. We're buying more I bonds. Okay. Lon asks whether you can buy individual. Oh, so that's the other thing. So we'll be doing more like of our to-do videos. I know that we left it off as we would do more secondary market videos for those of you who want to buy in the secondary market because you're not comfortable not knowing what you get at auction. So we'll be doing that. Okay. So I'm looking through all of, so Robert asks, is there an advantage of a 2-year FRN over a 13-week T-bill auto roll? Well, you always get a spread with the FRN. So it depends on what the spread is. I personally find auto roll very attractive. I don't love FRNs. We have an FRN video as well. I don't like them because they're not very liquid, and I like because of the floating interest rate. So I like my 13-week T-bill, most of you, and my 4 weeks. Okay. Thank you for the happy Easter. Okay. Swati, you cannot sell the I bonds until you deliver them. Oh, here's another thing. So you guys have asked about delivering I bonds. I think I have a video on that. You should know that once you can redeem as many I bonds as you want, so long as you own them. So if you own 50,000 I bonds, if somebody bought you $50,000 of I bonds and they've, gifted it all to you somehow over the past 5 years, you can redeem all of them at once. That was a question a lot of you had. You can redeem all of them at once. You just can't buy 50,000 more, right, for yourself. You can buy 10,000. But in terms of redemption, you can redeem as many I bonds as you want. Ann H is not ready. I missed you guys as well. I think I covered that. Anne is not ready to give up her 5.25% 4-week T-bills. I'm not ready yet to give them up either. So let's see. Okay, Beth asks, when you say you will buy I bonds using redeemed funds from the zero fixed ones, you can only buy 10,000. You can only buy 10,000. Like I said, we'll buy 10,000. I'll buy 10,000. Marcus will probably buy 10,000. And then if it's really amazing, the fixed rate that comes up, then we'll just gift one another. I like those fixed rates on the I bonds. Like I say, the I bonds for us are inflation protected emergency fund. Once the 12 months is over, the tips really are a long-term retirement planning tool. And I do really like tips because the real yields are really good. It's just relative to I bonds, and I like the inflation protected feature. So I'm looking at the, can dry powder be stashed in a high yield? You can stash your dry powder anywhere where you feel comfortable. So the question is, can you stash it in a high yield savings account? You can. Before money market rates were as good as they are, that's where we put our cash in a high yield savings account. We just keep it in Fidelity because for us, the exemption on state and local income taxes on T-bills, it's just very attractive to us. So that's why we keep it there. Hello, Tess from Orlando. Is it better to buy T-bills through Fidelity and Schwab because of auto roll and Fidelity's SPACs money market auto sweep? Yeah, I mean, I've been, so all of you that have been with us for a long time know that I've been with Fidelity for practically my whole life, whole investing life. So I prefer to keep my money at Fidelity, and I like the fact that there is no 1 week break on my, I mean, it doesn't really matter now. Well, it does matter actually, because Schwab keeps it in the low sweep. So I like Fidelity. So I like the auto roll feature. So my personal take on the brokerages is, I think if you're buying treasury bills, if you don't use auto roll, then I think they're all relatively the same. If you really like auto roll, Fidelity is really the one that does it like Treasury Direct does, meaning it matures and you're automatically in the next one. There's no break. In terms of, let me think, what's the next one? Agency bonds. Fidelity is great for agency bonds as well. If you buy munis, if you're more munis and corporates, they have it. Fidelity has it as well. The munis and corporates, I think that's where Schwab that's where they're stronger. Let's put it that way. And Vanguard, listen, I think if you're just buying T-bills, you don't care about auto roll, or you're just buying treasuries, you don't care about auto roll and most of your savings there, that's also fine, right? And a lot of you, I think you need to make what works for you. For us, we just started, we were always with Fidelity and it works. I mean, if we had been with Schwab, would I have moved my T-bills? Maybe I might have opened a Fidelity account. I just think you need to do it where you're comfortable with. But I definitely have a preference for Fidelity. Okay, so let me, tips, somebody asks, tips equals treasury inflation protected securities. That's correct. Elisa asked about tips ETF. So I like buying individual bonds. I like buying them because I like the fact that you can control everything. You're clear about when you get the money back, how much you're going to get. You don't get that with those ETFs. It can be a defined maturity, but if you have to sell it, you're going to get whatever the market price on those tips ETFs is, like any other ETF. So I think I did a video on that. I can't remember if it was a member video or not, but I did an entire video on defined maturity ETFs. In theory, they sound very good. And there is a time and a place for it. But if what you want is to know exactly the amount that you're going to get and when you're going to get it, ETFs are not, it's not going to give that to you, because if or when you have to sell, you're just going to have to accept whatever that market price is on that ETF. Okay. Do I think it's worth buying $10,000 of IBONs for the year now or wait to see so I think I answered the IBON question. And the other thing is some folks buy 5,000 now and then 5,000 later. I just think, I like the rate now. It's one of the highest IBON rates in 16 years, fixed rates in 16 years. So assuming that you need inflation protection, right? I mean, if you're in your 20s, you're probably not going to be buying IBONs because the fixed rate is so high. But if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, then know that the IBON rate is also at one of the highest fixed rates that it's been in many, many years. Okay, so yes. Do I recommend any other fixed income instruments? What about target bond funds, investment grade? I did a whole video on, so the question is, do I recommend bond funds? Like I said, I think if you don't have the time, you don't have the, you don't want to manage your own portfolio of individual bonds, you have, money is a constraint because there are minimums, then you can go for bond funds. A lot of people buy bond funds. I prefer individual bonds because this is what I do, but also because I like the fact that I can control everything. I know exactly when everything matures. But like I said, I will repost the link for our individual bonds versus bond fund video, and you guys can go through it. Any idea when the Fed will start trimming their balance sheets? They've been trimming it for a while. So they said they will continue to do it. Let's see what he says at the next meeting. Do I prefer 4 weekers over 8 weekers? I think that if you're laddering and you're rolling, and I like the 4 week now, just because I like the fact that it's so flexible and the rates they're not substantially different. I don't, those 5 basis points, I don't really think it's a huge difference. If it matters to you, then, go for the one that works best for you. I just like the fork because it's so short. Tips video would be appreciated. We have tips videos. I will post those as well. Are there any fixed income like to go up when T-bills go down? Like I said, it depends on where the longer rates are. Could there be a scenario where the Fed lowers rates and then T-bill rates will go down? Could the long end stay higher? Yeah, it could. But in general, when the Fed lowers rates, the T-bill yields will go down. But where the long end is, nobody knows at the moment. Okay, so all right, guys, I have about like 3-4 minutes left, so I'm gonna go through as much of these as I can. Okay. Oh, Craig, great to see you as well. In the end, my account. Okay, Okay. Do you think it's safe to buy Treasury bills directly? If you mean, so Wilma asked, do you think it's safe to buy Treasury bills directly? I'm gonna let our community answer that. I mean, this is the perfect community. They buy Treasury bills directly. I don't know if you mean directly from Treasury Direct, but folks here buy Treasury bills directly from Treasury Direct as well. I have a lot of money in IBONs with Treasury Direct. So I think my general feeling on the US government is, yeah, it's safe to buy from them. If you don't think that it's safe to buy from the US government, then there's really not much option, because the US government also backs the FDIC and everything else. So I think it is. Other people might disagree. But I think the vast majority of people in this channel would agree that it's safe to buy it. So Deborah asks, if or when we have a big pullback in the stock market, how will it affect T-bills, bonds, and tips? Well, generally, when there's a pullback in the market, it will negatively impact bonds as well. But a lot of that is driven by the Fed, Deborah. So a lot of it is more driven by, what Powell is going to say, where inflation is going to be. Okay. So oh my goodness, Robert Greger. Thank you for the reminder, Robert Greger. Any thoughts on the 20-year bond? I had a note to talk about. So the 20-year bond is great, I think, personally, if you're going to hold to maturity, and you don't plan on selling. The 20-year bond is not very liquid. Okay, it was reissued again, I think they announced it in January of 2020, and then they being the Treasury, and then I'm gonna run over a bit. So who gets excited over this stuff? I get excited over this stuff. Okay, so the Treasury announced that they would start issuing 20-year bonds again, Treasury bonds. That was in January of 2020. And the reason they did that was because apparently they tested out different types of instruments. And this was what the market said they were most receptive to. So then they started issuing again in May of 2020. It's not very liquid. Okay, it's not liquid at all. But because it's not very liquid, I actually have this written down. It generally tends to have trade with a bit of a higher yield than the 10-year and the 30-year. So if your timeline is 20 years, because I've been looking at the 20-year bonds, we haven't done anything, but I've been looking at it as well. So for example, if you look at it, it's always roughly it's just always slightly higher than always, I'm not allowed to say that, almost always slightly higher than the 10-year and also slightly higher than the 30-year, because of this fact that it's new to the market-ish, and it's just less liquid. So if you do sell it, you're going to have to take a discount for it. But if you're buying it and planning on holding it to maturity, the 20-year bond is actually not a bad one to look at, because the 10-year, for example, is at 4.2 right now. At the end of the day today, so 4.2 for the 10-year, 4.45 for the 20-year, and 4.36 for the 30-year. So the 20-year is actually, if I were 60, 70, 60, I would think, or 55, I would think about the 20-year. Right? Because it always has a bit of a bump on the yield, because it's a bit newer and it's not very liquid. For some reason, it's just always a bit higher in terms of the yield. So there we go. I'm glad. Thank you, Robert, for bringing that up, because I completely I completely forgot about that one. Okay. I don't think my, okay. Ron says Susie Orman talks a lot of smack about bond funds. Listen, I think that if you, like I said, I think bond funds work for the right individual. And I do think that if you're buying munis and corporates and you don't know how to analyze these individual issues, because there is an element of credit risk, there's tax issues and all these other things you need to look at. I do think there's a case for going with a bond fund, but know that when you go with a bond fund, you lose this element of control and you lose this element of clarity. You don't know what you're going to get at any specific point in time if you have to sell that bond fund. Okay, so that's that. Okay. So for someone in their 60s, you would DC into 5 to 7 bonds and 20, 30 years, any preference? I don't. So Amy's question was, would I dollar cost average into 5 to 7 bonds, 5 to 7 bonds, 20, 30 years, any preference? I think I just answered, I like the 20-year if it works for you. That depends on your situation, which maturity works for you and how complex you want your bond portfolio to be, right? Some people can only handle 3 bonds. Others can handle 12 or more. So, okay, so I'm going to have to run because it's 7:30. Where have I been? Cannibal wants to know where have I been. So as I said, we've been working on 2 projects. They are 2 bond courses. You can check them out on our website. We will have more posts. We will share some videos with you. Some of you here have already gone through it. It took a lot longer than we expected because it's a lot more comprehensive than we expected. Those of you that we're in our bond beginners course know that it turned into a monster, a good monster, a very comprehensive monster, because what we found is what we kept getting from our members and from you guys is, for example, these questions here today, bond funds, tips. We have all those videos. We have all those videos on our channel. We have 424 videos, but there are still knowledge gaps and we want those knowledge gaps to be closed. So we found a very good way to put everything together. It's now together. And as I've said to our members and super savers who've heard about it, it is our best piece, 2 pieces of work at Diamond NestEgg so far. It's cost us many, many hours. None of us have taken a holiday since our last live. We are going on a holiday over Easter. We will be back. We will be back and we will be better than before even. So expect to see a lot from us. You'll be hearing more about these courses. You'll get to choose a video that you want to see from the course. And yeah, check it out. It's on our website and we will talk about that another time. But it is on there for all of you that are interested. And there's a complete module on tips, which was what cost us a lot of time on that as well. So, and if any of you who've taken the course, feel free to drop your comments if anybody has questions, but I need to run now. And we will be back with proper tips videos, proper T-bill videos and proper IBON videos and all the secondary market videos and tutorials that you guys have asked for over the past 4 to 5 months. So I hope that was useful. I hope I covered as much as that you guys wanted, and I will see you all very soon. Bye, Deborah. Take care. Bye, folks. Have a great Easter, whoever celebrates. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.